Othello Act 4 and Act 5. What strikes me most about the tragic ending of this play is Desdemona's inability to spot the problem of Othello in due time and extricate herself from this dangerous situation. Her pleas for time at the end, just before her death, are all the more chilling and urgent as her realized fears in Othello come too late. What singles out the emotionally damaged from the emotionally healthy is not their involvement with madness. This is everywhere. It is their inability to spot the problem in due time and free themselves. And what makes this so difficult, what gets one interminably stuck, is a difficult childhood. Above all else, what clouds our judgment is something we have scarce control over, our childhoods. This was Freud's insight, that the way we are as adults sits upon a base formed in childhood, and that the childhood relationships, the central relationships that we had with our caregivers and our parental figures, are in essence the golden key that unlocks our emotional functioning. So getting to our childhood emotions, our childhood patterns and thinking is the key to our understanding the emotional states that exist within us today. In essence, we are living the wide open present through the narrow drama of the past. In this play, we see that Desdemona's impulses are profoundly misleading. And these character traits of hers, this mentality that she has, was formed, according to this theory, in response to the central figure of her childhood, her father. And one thing to focus on here is her father's volatility. In Act 1, Scene 3, he speaks of his daughter's involvement with Othello with absolute horror. He cannot accept that his daughter is with a black man. And the only explanation for this is witchcraft, or practices of cunning hell. When this turns out not to be true, that Desdemona was indeed half the wooer, he wishes she was never born, that he did not father her. He speaks, "I had rather to adopt a child than get it." Then he says that if he had another child, he'd hang clogs upon them and be a tyrant for what she's done. And when the suggestion is brought up that when Othello goes to war, she should be with her father, he refuses to take her. Having a volatile parent like this pushed Desdemona towards her present meekness. Growing up, Desdemona could not change or get rid of her father. Children cannot leave an offending situation. They are prey to powerful, limitless longings to try to fix the broken situation they so completely depend upon. Children have to settle in doing one thing, hoping the difficult parent will magically change. Children think If I just hold on long enough and are good and sufficiently polite and compliant, then maybe the difficult parent will take mercy on them and alter their volatile course. Desdemona has taken this misguided patience out into her adult relationship with Othello. In essence, she's been barred from the insight needed or the capacity to give up on certain people. After Othello strikes her, she says to her servant, "Pray thee tonight, lay on my bed my wedding sheets." And when her servant speaks to her, "I wish you had never seen Othello," Desdemona responds, "So would not I. My love doth so approve him, that even his stubbornness, his checks, his frowns have grace and favor in them." Her meekness is such that in fearing Othello, she speaks, "Unkindness may do much, and his unkindness may defeat my life." There is just such an emotional imbalance here. When a child suffers at the hands of an adult, children tend to take what happens to them as a reflection of something that must be very wrong with them. If someone humiliates them, ignores, or hurts them, it must, so it seems, be because they are deserving of it. After Othello strangles Desdemona, her maidservant asks her, "Who hath done this?" Desdemona responds, "Nobody. I myself." What really captures hauntingly this impotence, this powerful, limitless longing of hers, is the willow song. The poor soul sat sighing by a sycamore tree, sing all a green willow, her hand on her bosom, her head on her knee. Sing willow, willow, willow. Her salt tears fell from her and softened the stone. So in essence, this is all about hanging your head and crying about it. Now, of course, Shakespeare's laying on kind of thick the murder of a virtuous wife, an obedient wife, the sacrifice of a lamb, the martyr of a pious person, which is so alluring. But what I like about this psychological theory is that it brings more to this. It explains the underlying causes. And when it comes to Shakespeare, he's all about the underlying causes, the full complexity of life, the multi-dimensions of our existence.